Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 21st of July. And we're using Trading View today, which is not the normal thing we use. We usually use ShareScope, but it's still on the blink with some prices updated and some not, which obviously could be not very helpful if one's trying to make calls on stocks and on markets. But starting off with the FTSE 100, where I've tried to mirror the trend channel that I had on the ShareScope chart. Here we've got a rising trend channel there from April. The top of the channel there heading towards 92.30. Looking for that by the end of next month, while we're above the old June and the June resistance and recent support towards 89.10. That's also the floor of the rising trend channel. Worst case is that there's a rug pull required down to the 50-day moving average 88.05, but at the moment, hoping that this market will remain on the right side of 8,900. Moving along to the DAX, and here the picture is that of a market which is consolidating well near the highs. The old resistance around 24,500 back in May, June, and we're sort of trading either side of that. Notional support at the uptrend line there from April and the 50-day line 23,900. While we're above that combo, looking for 25,000 or so by the end of next month, or hopefully rather sooner than that. RSI in a good place at 57. We've had various bounces for the RSI at and above neutral 50, so that does suggest that we are set fair for ongoing strength in this market. Moving along to the Dow, and this has been slightly difficult compared to the other markets, but basic message here is we've got a rising trend channel there from April, top of the channel, in this case at 4,600. It's actually slightly different on ShareScope, I suppose, on ShareScope. Looking for something a bit wider than that towards 47,000 plus, but either way, we've got a range of 44,000 to 45,000 in the near term. Above that, they're looking for 47,000 plus by the end of next month. Key here is not to have an end of day close back below last week's intraday low, 43,758. RSI in a good place, 59, so in the upper 50s, ready for a potential fresh leg to the upside. If you're cautious, you would just wait for an end of day close through 45,000 and then look for 2,000 points plus of upside. Moving on to the cryptos, and there are two today. The first one is coming up in the form of Bitcoin. Use the Coinbase feed there, and here you can see that we're in a little mini range, 115 to basic 121, let's call it, and need an end of day close above 121 to give us a move to the top of that rising trend channel from back in the spring of last year, as high as 130,000. Looking for that now by the end of August, while we're above 115. Worst case is that we've got to test either the May resistance at 112 or the 50-day line at 109. Presumably, Bitcoin's capable of flushing out the longs down to both of those levels in a single day. The easiest thing here would be to wait for an end of day close through 121 above recent mini resistance, and then look for 130, especially with all the companies buying Bitcoin for their treasury. Onto Ethereum, which I did look at last week, and the market is up a reasonable amount since then. We had a falling trend channel that was in place since the early part of last year. The top of that channel was 34.80. Above that, we're now looking for a fresh leg to the upside, which we're already getting, actually, which is the top of that broadening triangle from the spring of last year. That's heading towards 4,500, and we're looking for that by the end of next month. You can see 44.66 at the moment, but 4,500 by the end of next month, while we're above the 34.90 zone. Moving on to gold, and here it's been a stable position and picture for this market. We've got this currently around the floor of that channel and just above the 50-day line, 33.23. Above that combination, looking for initial resistance there at a May resistance line, 34.30 by the end of this month. Hopefully, the market will then continue towards 3,800 by the end of next month. On the downside, 32.20, 32.30, recent support, post-May support, the worst that we're looking for on this market. Moving on to the stocks, and one which has been quite a painful one in the recent past for one reason or the other. There was an acquisition last week, which the market has taken well, obviously boosting revenues, joint revenues. Current situation is that we've got the top of the range, recent range, in the top of that mid channel there, around 430 pence. We're looking for that while we remain above the now rising 50-day line at £3.50. That is a key there. I mean, the fact that the market's risen, although sorry, the 50-day line is rising, should be a push. Mean a push to 430 or so is on its way over the next 2 to 4 weeks, or even sooner. Below the 350 level and the 50-day line would make the picture just one of the usual range that we've had on either side of £3. Moving on to Alkemy, which has had a decent rise so far today, and here you can see that we've got this rising trend channel that's been in place since the early part of last year. The floor of the channel currently around 136 pence, but in the near term, it's the 50-day line there at 154, and above that, which is rising, and we've had a ricochet off it, looking for up to £2.50 by the end of next month. This looks like it's a reasonably serious attempt at pushing to the upside. Only back below that 50-day line, really delaying the upside scenario. Bison is next, and here we've got rather messy price action, but nevertheless, rising trend channel there from back in November, top of the channel heading for 85 pence. We're looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain above the price channel floor at 60 pence. Had a decent interview with Olivia Edwards from Cell AI, and here we see the shares after last week's interview bouncing a little bit. We were on our support line there from back in December. That's around 0.19. Obviously, the placing, the £10 million placing at 0.2. So the shares trying to take up the slack of that placing, looking for basically the stock to at least test support on the way down towards 0.27 pence. Even while they remain on the right side of 0.2 pence. Hemogenyx is next, and this has been a problem child for quite some time. It continues to be one, but just the first signs of a turnaround in the sense that we had the old support area from back in June around £1.50. Want to see an end of day close back above £1.50, which we're very close to at the moment, to get the shares at least up to the 50-day line, £1.65. Obviously, companies got a bit of a habit of raising money into any strength, so one has to take the upside with a little bit of a pinch of salt. On to Haydale, which has been called higher here from basically the get-go. Here we've got a steep rising trend channel, currently based around the 58.58 pence level. Above that, looking for 1 pence plus, perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Obviously, the recent resistance around the 0.9 pence area. On to a situation which is one which has been through the wars, one has to say, of the recent past, but got a decent bounce here today for, or at least a bounce here for Georgina. It looks like the floor of the channel there around 5.75 pence, 5.9 pence rather, than above that. We're looking for the 50-day line, 8.8 pence, hopefully over the next few weeks. I've got Hamak Gold next, which I think everyone and their mother's claiming the success for in terms of the upside, but the shares were, the company was interviewed here well down on where we are at the moment, probably well below the 0.5 pence level. Top of the channel here looks to be around 5 pence, so that's the best case scenario target at the moment. And we're looking for that while we remain on the right side, obviously, of the 4 pence area, which is currently becoming intraday support. RSI 50 rebound we had last week, which was the second one in the recent past. We had one last month when the shares were around 0.75 pence, and that's what has driven them higher. Finishing off with Oxford BioDynamics, which actually is living up to its name at the moment, in the sense that we've got the shares bouncing above a rising 50-day line. They've done that on a couple of occasions now. Last week, that tends to mean that we're in a mid-move consolidation. Does suggest that the minimum on the upside here will be the old February peak at 0.84 pence. And we're looking for that while we remain on the right side of the June peak at 0.54 pence. So ideally today, there's an end of day close above that, and then we head up to 0.8 pence plus over the next couple of weeks. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.